What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the HackSmarter Twitch channel. This is the second time of me saying that for those of you on YouTube, because when the stream officially started, I forgot to click record, but I did it this time, so I am now live with those of you on Twitch and after the fact with those of you on YouTube. So thank you for being here. We are going to dive back into HackTheBox. The machine that we started last week was called Nunchucks. I think I'm saying that right. Nunchucks, like you know, the ninja weapon. And we got the user flag, and we were so close to getting like a full shell on the machine. We were able to get the user flag by using server-side template injection in order to read the user.txt file. So we got it that way, and we were working on getting our shell. We have really two options to get our shell, at least the way I see it. The first option is something I want to try, and I want to see if we just create like a bash reverse shell and we host it on a Python server. Can I use the RCE and the server-side template injection to pull that shell down? Then can I use the RCE to make the shell executable? And then can I execute it and get a shell? I don't know, but I want to try that first. If that doesn't work, the other thing we can do is we'll set up an ID RSA key for SSH, and we will echo our public key over to the .ssh folder on the user that we are attacking. And I'm hoping if we do that, we'll be able to SSH as that user and get our initial access. So that's my plan, at least in my mind right now. As usual, I have not gone through this ahead of time. I am working through this live. We will stumble through this together live, and I would encourage you to hack alongside of me. So if you want to, once again, we'll be at Nunchucks on HackTheBox. It is a retired machine, which means you do need to be a subscriber to HackTheBox to access the retired machines. But if you're not, yo, it's worth it. HackTheBox has some incredible machines, very realistic, many of them, and I've learned so many things from HackTheBox. The only downside is every time I do an easy machine, I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I suffer from imposter syndrome because the easy machines, are not easy, at least in my opinion. But I learn a lot every time I dive into them. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. Here we go. I got a few things pulled up, guys, just for fun. I'm using the Pwnbox again. So if you were with me on stream last week, my VM was updating and it was being dumb. I had some bugs in it, so I was updating and it was taking forever. So out of necessity, I used the Pwnbox in my stream last week, and I thought, hey, let's do it again. I kind of enjoyed the feel of the Pwnbox. I like how easy it is to access, and I think I still have some time on it with my VIP subscription. So let's try to do this in the Pwnbox again. So you can even follow along in the Pwnbox. If you launch the Pwnbox, we'll be on the same VM and everything. I do have a user init script. So the cool thing about Pwnbox is you can set a user init script or user initialization script, so that every time the Pwnbox launches, it sets up your settings for you. So every time my Pwnbox launches, it installs Cato for me, gets Cato ready. So all that stuff is good to go. If you don't know what Cato is, it's like Burp Suite Community Edition, but better. And it has ChatGPT integrated into it as we ask it questions. So check out Cato. If you do purchase Cato, all the features are basically free. The Pro Edition gives you some added features, but not really. It's more just to support the developers. Super affordable. I think it's about $100 for a year, so that's less than $10 a month. And here is my commercial. If you use HackSmarter on checkout, you get $10 off. I get $10 off. It's a win-win. So if you get Cato, use HackSmarter, and we can celebrate together. All right, let me pull up my notes and let's recap where we were at last week, because it has been a week since we've been here. So here's our Nunchucks machine. When we did our first initial scan, you can see we had SSH open. That's why I'm thinking, hey, maybe if we echo our public key to SSH, we can access that way. We have port 80 open, which is of course a web server, but you can see it just redirects to port 443. And then on port 443, we have this nunchucks.hackthebox. Now, when we were doing our enumeration, if I drop over here, we first on Nunchucks.hackthebox, we were doing some basic enumeration. We found this sign up API, but we couldn't do anything. And then we used GoBuster to enumerate vhost. You can see my syntax right there. And it found store.nunchucks.hackthebox, which is a vhost. We added that to our etc host file. We got into the vhost, and then we began to fuzz. Really the only thing on there, and I'll show that to you guys, is this, your email here. So that's really the only thing on there. We were thinking, hey, SQL injection. I tried SQL injection. The cool thing about Cato is, unlike Burp Suite Community Edition, you are not rate limited. So we ran through some SQL injection payloads. We had some interesting errors, but you can see it's a JSON error, not a database error. And so we did a bunch of things. We eventually learned that it was vulnerable to SSTI, which is server-side template injection, by doing a very basic payload, 7 times 7, and you can see it added up. It did 49. And then we did some research on, hey, what is the templating engine? And we were like, okay, it's either Jinja 2 or Twig. And then I think we were stuck there because all the payloads I used for Jenga 2 or Twig did not work. So we looked at OXDF, his walkthrough, just until we were no longer stuck. And we eventually got file read. The actual thing that's powering this is like Nunchucks. So very similar to the name, and that should have been a hint, but I never heard of it. But it said that Nunchucks, or whatever it's called, is a mixture between Jenga 2 and Twig. So we did correctly identify the templating engine. It was just a weird one. But once we had our templating engine, we were able to get our basic payload here. And then you can see, hey, we were able to read etc password right there. And it looks like I dropped in the syntax right there for us to do code execution on LSLA, just so we don't have to repeat the process. So that is what we spent our time doing last week. Hopefully I brought you up to speed. Looking over the chat, my thoughts on using Zap. You know, I just haven't used Zap a whole lot. I've used it for some basic things, but I did Burp Suite Community Edition. I am a web app pen tester at work, so I use Burp Suite Pro. As much as I love Cato, it still lacks some of those features for doing the pen testing I do for my day job, but I really enjoy it for CTFs. The only thing that turns me off from OWASP Zap, it has incredible features. It is not rate limited. I just don't like the UI. Like every time I open up OWASP Zap, I feel like I'm on a 90s MySpace page, you know, with like the crazy HTML. And honestly, Burp Suite isn't that much better, but like, dude, look at Cato. Isn't the UI just beautiful? It's written in Rust from the ground up, and I just love the color scheme. I love the way it looks. I hope the day comes when I can replace Burp Suite Pro with just using Cato, almost purely because of the look, but it has some cool features in it. Curious about those of you in chat. What do you guys prefer? Burp Suite, Cato, which is new, or Zap? Yeah, it does feel dated. I mean, it's powerful. Probably has more features than Cato, but just look at Cato. It's just beautiful, in my humble opinion. The UI, I'm assuming protagonist, you're talking about Zap and not Cato. If you're insulting Cato, I might just have to ban you from Twitch. I'm pretty sure you're talking about Zap, though. Okay, let's see. What was I doing? Okay, let's go back to this. Now, one thing that I always check on real engagements is when there's something like this, it could be a password field. So I'll give you a really quick real-life example. When I'm doing a web app pen test, one of the things we check is like password strength. It's not really something that a hacker is going to exploit because of the way you do it, but sometimes when an organization is checking password strength, they're only doing it on the client side. And what I mean by that is on the client side, they're asking for maybe 12 characters, uppercase, a special character. And if you follow the correct password thing, but then you capture it with Burp Suite or Cato, a man-in-the-middle proxy, you can change your password to literally one character such as A, forward it, and it's only verified on the client side. You bypass that, you captured it before it went to the server, and then your password is set to A. So whether it is password strength, whether it is making sure it's an email and not a URL, whatever it is, I always encourage clients, like, you need to verify things on client side and server side. Never, ever, 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 ever trust the client, because the client could be someone like me, and I'm gonna take advantage of your trustworthiness. Jordan said, dude, how do you have a full-time job, hang out with your family, have time to hack, and still sleep before work the next day? I'm in a similar situation, and I find it impossible to get time to hack. Totally not related to what's happening right now, but just a thought. No, dude. Really good question. You know, I might even cut this clip out just for YouTube alone, because I think that's a common question. So let me just break down your question. Like, how do I have time to do all these things? The obvious thing is, right, we all have the same amount of time in a day. It's kind of cliche to say that, but I am not a superhuman. I might take more caffeine than the average person, but that's about it. But we all have the same amount of time in a day. And the other part that I think we need to recognize is we all have different levels of capacity based on the season of life that you're in. So I have, my kids are 6 and 3. My son's almost 4, and my daughter's actually almost 7 now at this point. And their stage of life now is a lot different than when they were, 3 months old and not sleeping through the night and all of that, and not getting much sleep at all. So in that season of life, there's no way I could be doing what I'm doing now. But the other part is just recognizing capacity. We all have different capacity for activity, for getting things done, whatever it is. And it's easy to beat yourself up if you're like, hey man, I'm just tired at the end of the day. I cannot hack stuff. I cannot stream, whatever it is. Totally fine. Like at the end of the day, your mental health, your emotional well-being is way more important than this facade of productivity that I think many of us strive after and glorify. Like we can't all be John Hammond. In my case, I think I might have a higher than average capacity. So when I was getting my degree at WGU, here's kind of a snapshot. I was in pastoral ministry for 10 years. And when I was doing my degree at WGU, I had both my kids, my wife, and then I was going to school. I was working as a pastor full-time, and I was working in IT support full-time, and I still finished my degree in 7 months and got like A+, Security Plus, Network Plus, Pen Test Plus, just grinded it out. Wasn't healthy, but I knew like, hey, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I grinded out and got it done. So that's part of it, just recognizing all of us have differing levels of capacity. Some of that you can change. Some of it just comes with my phone told me to stream on Twitch. Some of it just comes with your personality type in some ways. That's the first thing. The second thing that I would encourage you is you have to be strict with the schedule. So my schedule is I work during the day, of course, like your typical 9 to 5. When I'm off work, I try to do my best to truly be off work, and I spend the evening usually hanging out with my kids. We do something like that, and then I'm not back on my computer until I get them in bed. So people ask me like, yo, Tyler, why don't you stream earlier? Like this time doesn't work for me. Yo, I don't care if it doesn't work for you. Watch me on YouTube, right? I stream at the time that works for me, and the time that works for me is after my kids get to bed. I will stream now for maybe 2 hours, so about 11 o'clock. Then I'll go to bed, and then I'll wake up at about 7 a.m. to get my kids ready for school. So if you do the math, I'm still getting 7-8 hours of sleep a night. I think sleep is important. I think people who say, yeah, dude, I only get like 3 to 4 hours of sleep. Man, good for you, but in 10 years, you're going to regret it when you destroy your health in order to do whatever you want to do, and then you have some serious health issues because you neglected your body. So it really is this balancing act. All that to say, my friend, is your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health is more important than hacking, and different seasons of life give you different levels of capacity. It's not something to feel bad about, but it is a reality to recognize that we all have limitations. And if we try to reject those limitations, which is often encouraged, that's how you end up with health issues and mental health issues and emotional issues and family issues and marital issues. So keep the main thing the main thing. I hope you find that helpful. And if I do end up clipping that out for anyone else watching that on YouTube, I hope you find it helpful as well. How do I feel about Postman? Dude, I use Postman all the time. Yeah, so in my job, I do external pen tests, web app pen tests, getting to AWS, and I do APIs. APIs are very closely related to web apps. I'm actually been doing API pen tests for a while now on different assessments, and that's what I do. I use Postman, load it all up into Postman, set different variables. Postman helps for some wide fuzzing, but then often if I want to do detailed fuzzing, I'll use Postman. I send it over to Burp Suite, and I fuzz stuff with Burp Suite. Okay, guys, I hope that was helpful, and I always, my purpose here is to eventually go through this machine, but the cool thing, guys, about live streaming is interaction. So truly, if anyone else has any more questions, I'd be happy to answer those questions as well as we dive into this. Yeah, dude, 10 months old and not sleeping through the nights. Yeah, dude. So do not compare your capacity to what I am doing. I remember those days, and those days can be brutal. Kids are awesome, but lack of sleep makes everything way more difficult, including learning and studying. And I think at least my tendency, I have the same tendency where I compare myself to some of those big names in the field, but then a lot of them either have kids who are grown or they don't have kids, or maybe they don't even have a wife. So nothing bad about that, but they just have way more time than I have, which is totally fine. At the end of the day, I think what each one of us needs to realize is whether it's your job, whether it's YouTube, whether it's a certification, none of that's going to matter in 20 years. There's a cliche quote that someone shared, but it always stuck with me, that the only person who is going to remember the long hours you work 20 years from now are your kids because you didn't spend any time with them. So do not sacrifice your kids or your family on this false altar of success. Quick commercial, I'm speaking at Simply CyberCon on November 8th, their virtual conference. I believe it's pay what you can to get into it. And that's what I'm talking about, mental health and emotional health. So check out Simply CyberCon. I will give a whole 28-minute message on some of those things, which I probably came close just now talking. Okay. Well, let's dive into this. What I was telling you guys is the whole idea of client versus server side checking this. So if I do like, who am I right here and click notify me, it says, please enter an email address, right? So we'll do hack@hacksmarter.com. It's just looking for that probably through regex or something. And if we turn on queuing so we can capture that request, we'll do notify me, and let's go ahead and send it to replay. Close this out. And now that we're in replay, we can actually change this email to anything we want, and it will take it because it's only checking it initially with JavaScript. JavaScript is client facing. And if we do send, you can see this. You will receive updates on the following email address. Who am I? I believe when I was testing this, I was able to get HTML injection, and we could eventually probably get cross-site scripting. Anytime I see something reflected, that's what I'm looking for. Can I get HTML injection, and then can I get cross-site scripting? In the real world, I'm able to get cross-site scripting on almost every web app assessment that I do in some form or fashion. So it's out there. That was my first bug bounty. I made $250 because I found cross-site scripting. I was on a website, new feature on a website, just out in the wild that had a bug bounty program, spent 10 minutes on it and found cross-site scripting and made that $250. So something to look for. Anytime you see input being reflected, try HTML injection, try cross-site scripting, see where you can get to. We can turn queuing off there. If we go back to replay, let's go ahead and pull up our payload. And for a proof of concept, let's copy this and let's see if our notes are good. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So you can see we have code execution there. We are reading the file system. So here's what I'm curious about. We can think through, if I pull up Parrot, and I wonder if assistant, so sometimes assistant will be nice. We'll see if this works. Yeah, so like, here's the thing I love, guys, about Cato. If you ask the same question to freaking ChatGPT in the web browser, it's like, yo, as an AI trained language model, I can't help you break the law, blah, blah. But yo, the Cato version of ChatGPT is like, yeah, dude, here you go. So here we have a very simple one-liner. Just looking it over, it does look correct to me. So I believe ChatGPT here did that correctly. So let's go ahead and grab that. And we will actually pull this up to get our syntax right, is how I like to do it. I don't actually know my IP. What is it? 10.10.14.12. We'll just copy that. And we'll go over to our notes here, and let's plug in that information. Oh. 1337, because that's what real hackers use, right? And we'll just save that. Make directory for, what is this, Nunchucks. All right, and we'll nano shell.sh. That should be fine. Sudo python 3. 8080 is in use. Is 80 in use? Okay. Those are just services through the pwn box, like VNC viewer and things like that, is why those ports are in use sometimes. So we will do it on port 8000. And if we go back to our replay request here, I'm curious if wget will work. So if we do like wget, oops. So just for context, last week I was trying to do a bash shell directly in here. I also tried to use netcat to get a shell. I tried to use Python, I think, to get a shell. None of that worked. And so I had this idea as well. So we'll do wget 10.10.14.12 8000 shell.sh. Just want to see if we get a hit on here. Okay. So we got bad gateway here, but we can see we did get a GET request from our victim IP address. So now if I change this back to, I still just do ls, so it's a little bit cleaner. No, I don't see it there. So maybe we have to put it in a specific directory. So if I do wget 10.10.14.12 8000 shell.sh. What if I do something like that? Okay, so although we get, I don't know why I'm pointing, you guys can't see my hands very well. Although we get the bad gateway, we did get a GET request here, so it may have worked, it may not have worked, I don't really know. If I do, nope, I don't think it worked, because I'm not seeing our shell there. So second plan, if we go to ls home, I don't remember the name of the user, to be honest. David, okay. So there's our user.txt. That's how we read user.txt. But now what if I do like make directory, okay, let's see if that worked. Okay, so what if I echo okay, we got that bad gateway again. But was it really bad gateway? Was it, I may have just screwed up my syntax. How about that? Okay. Okay. So we did make .sh, and we can also confirm that by if we back up here and we do ls-la. We should have .sh. I'm confident it's there, and I'm also confident I'm blind. There it is. So we can see we were able to create that. So in .sh you have ID RSA, you have, I'm trying to think of the syntax for the public key, what the files are called. Come on, Kato. Really should say Chat GPT. Oh. Authorized keys. That's what I'm blanking on. So if we create another directory called authorized keys, and we create our own ID RSA, so like an SSH key, and we echo our public key into that, I think we'd be able to SSH into it, right? So let's go ahead and create our authorized keys folder. So we'll do touch. Okay. Yo, what up, overgrown carrot bottleneck? Is this on Linux? It is on Linux. You got it, my friend. So we don't, I guess we don't even need our web server open anymore, so we'll just stay in this tab. And now, remember the syntax. Yeah, SSH key gen. Yep, you're right. So we'll do SSH key gen, RSA, Oh, we don't need to do our email. Yeah, that works. Okay, there's our public key. I did I don't know how to say your name, Draquino. I did do that last week. I mean, I always could have done it wrong though as well, but it didn't work. So if I echo this now into that, all right, I don't know if this is gonna work. Oh, shoot. We're going to have to URL encode this. I would think, 'cause it's not going to like that format. This is one thing I think they're still working on. Like in Burp Suite, you can just, highlight and change it. Now we could do, I haven't messed with the workflows. I think with the workflows, you could set up URL encoding. But let's see. Whoa. That's not how that's supposed to look. What? Oh, I just didn't like that it was small screened. Okay, let's go back to here. Let's grab our key. Oh, we don't even need the end part, I don't think. Well, yeah, we'll just copy the whole thing. I don't know if that will break it or not. So we have echo. Fingers crossed. Shoot. Ah, it didn't work. Okay, so something's going wrong when we do that. What if we don't URL encode all special characters? Or let's try to have ChatGPT help us with this. So I'm going to do this. Well, first, I guess let's see if echo works, right? Let's back up a little bit. Let's echo test into authorized keys. Okay, so we have to fix that first. So instead of echo, I wonder what's breaking when we echo. Okay, apparently that doesn't work either. Let me think about this for a second. Okay, he doesn't know what I'm asking. But maybe appending it works better for some reason. Shoot. Is it? No, everything else seems to be good. All right, chat, what's your ideas? Pretty sure this is our way forward. What if we like base 64 encode it and then decode it? That's what I tried. wget wasn't working. Wget, it does make a get request in our server, but then we get this message and it never actually showed up. We tried that. I was trying to get just like a bash shell on there, and it wouldn't let me wget anything properly. Yeah, no worries. I'm thinking if we base 64 encode, although that still won't do it because echo doesn't work. I'm thinking. I might have to look at how 0xdf did this. I'm quite certain this is the way he did it, but I'm just not quite sure what I'm missing. If echo doesn't work. What do you mean invalid authentication token? Okay. I needed to get my SSH pub key there. I just wgetted it from GitHub or something, then renamed it to authorized keys. Really? Like you were able to wget it. Maybe I'm doing something wrong with my wget. Let me just try that again. So if we go here, oh, not for this challenge. That was for something else. Gotcha. No, I'm not running the AI locally. There we go. Okay. Oh, it doesn't like that syntax. Okay, whatever. Can't echo. Oh no, internet doesn't work on these machines. wget like does work because we get hits on our web server. It just doesn't actually show up on the box, but it won't have internet access because this is a HackTheBox machine that we're doing. And for security reasons, the actual VMs, like the HackTheBox VMs that you hack, do not have outside internet access. So that for sure wouldn't work. In the real world, yes, that would work. Okay, well, I guess instead of staring at my screen, let's just learn this. Walkthroughs aren't bad as long as you learn something through the process. I'm clearly missing some weird way of doing this, and I want to know what that weird way is. So we did all this. No, okay, let's back up. Yep, we did all this. Yep, we did all this as well. To get a shell, I'll write my SSH key into that. First, create the directory, which we did. Now add my public key. Oh, guys, I'm dumb. It echoes only failing because I'm putting parentheses around what I'm echoing. We don't want to do that. We don't want to put parentheses around what we're echoing. See, I told you it was something silly. So now I believe if we grab my key, which okay. Boom. We have access, my friends. So that's all I was missing. I'm glad I was at least thinking of the right thing. Let me go ahead and copy the syntax for our notes and drop it in here. So there we go. We have our full initial access, and we'll just grab a screenshot of that as well, which I think I need to turn on light shot. Okay. Now if I grab this, oh wait, no, I don't want a picture of that. Hold up. Oh yeah, dude, I don't do code. This is my version of code blocks, bro. I know there's some third-party plugins. I just throw it in a table. It works. It works. I mean, you can see all the boxes I've done this way. It works for me, but yeah, no good way to do code notes, I don't think. But we do have initial access, so I want to create a new subpage here, and we'll call it post compromise. And on post compromise, I want to copy these two things as well, just so in post compromise we have all the information in case we have to redo that. But we have access, ladies and gentlemen. Give yourself a round of applause. I'll give myself a round of applause if that's okay. Now we can begin with our enumeration. So we just do ls, we have user.text. We'll check a few quick wins before we run something like win piece. So in temp, none of that's going to be helpful. Okay, look at that. That looks helpful. So in opt, we have backup.pl and web.backups. Here's our Perl script. So what is our Perl script doing? We have a temp directory in temp. We have our backup main, var www, so the web root. My now, so we're setting the time, and we're setting it in this format to our local time. And my temp b dir temp b or backup now. Okay, so we're in our temp directory. It's creating a file called backup, which is appended with the local time. And then we're printing our local time, blah, blah, sub archive, print log archiving, and then we're doing the system command, user bin tar, backup, then that's appended.tar, backup main. So we're backing it up and putting it in tar. If this doesn't equal 0, the variable doesn't equal 0, die, you must run the script as root. So this is just saying, hey, is a non-root user trying to run it. So if we try to run this script, I bet that's the message it's going to give us. Print log backup starts, make directory archive print Okay, so it's backing things up. Shakes Tech, I want to say first time watching live, seen a lot of your YouTube videos on watching your OSCP and then your job. Proud of your journey and see you succeed. I'm living vicariously through you. Awesome, man. Well, thank you, my friend, for the kind words. Really do appreciate it. Oh, whoa. I'm not root. How come that worked? The script's broken. You must run the script as root. Well, they're not checking that property because I can run it. So these are backups of the site. Okay, but I can't unzip these due to permission errors. But I have to imagine. Can I... first, let's go ahead and CP that. Back up. Okay, so I get permission denied there. Can I... Let me just save this in case I break something. I want to see if I can echo to the end of it. Like if we can modify the script in any way. But I don't want to lose the original script, so we'll drop it there. And my sweet code block in OneNote. There we go. All right, so let's understand permissions. The root user can read, write, execute. Everyone else can read and execute. Same with web backups. Read, write, execute, read, execute, read, execute. Okay, so we can't modify that. Dang it. And if we look at this, if we go down to opt, the root user can read, write, execute, read, execute, read, execute. So then my question is there anything in that the script is doing, anything in the path of the script that we're able to modify? You know what I mean? Whoops, not that. I don't know his password, bro. Let's run this by our handy dandy friend, ChatGPT, so we can understand this a little bit better. Let's see what I am missing in my newbiness. See if my explanation was correct. This is a Perl script that performs a backup of web server's web directory and saves it to a specified location. It does this by using the tar command to compress the web directory and save it to a compressed archive file. The compressed archive file is then moved to the specified location, and the temporary directory originally created for the backup is deleted. The script also includes some log and error. Okay. The script uses the POSIX setUID function to elevate privileges to root. Okay. Which can be dangerous if there are any vulnerabilities in the script or exploited by an attacker. The use of setUID is typically discouraged, and when used, it should be in carefully controlled and heavily audited environment. The script creates a temporary directory with full permissions. In the temp directory, it's almost like a race condition, which could pose a security risk as this directory is typically world writable. An attacker could exploit the directory to store malicious files or conduct privilege escalation attacks. The script uses system calls to execute external commands without proper input validation. This could potentially allow an attacker to inject arbitrary commands that could execute with root privileges and compromise the system. The script does not validate user command input, so an attacker can leverage this deficiency. Okay. So let's actually just grab this down for our notes so we can analyze it a little further. So our first issue is this. Oh, this right here. So it's setting it to our user ID. I'll underline it. So that's our first issue. And then we create this temporary directory. And it makes system calls, which is this right here. And this temp directory is temp backup. So if we can exploit the tar function, GTO. Oh yeah, we have the same thought, Draquino. That's what I'm thinking as well. If we can, so it's running the tar command on temp bdir, which is temp bdir backup now. Yo, what up, Oregon Carrot? We have SSH access to the box now. And we found a script in op that's clearly going to be our privilege escalation path, the Perl script for backing up. And we are just reading through it to understand the issue. And I think our way forward is recognizing how we can exploit the tar command that's going on here. We can't edit the script. We can't modify the script. Okay, I want to see a few things here. I need to run that one program. PSPI. I think that's what it's called. It's kind of like Proxmon for Linux. And we can see exactly what it's doing, but we see the names. I'm just trying to think of how one would exploit this. Yeah, PSPI, that's what I'm thinking of. If we run PSPI, we can kind of see what's going on. That might be an overkill, but let's do it. Oh, it's not actually the one. Let's do this one. Oh. With tar, we should be able to make a checkpoint in the directory that tar has already been done with tar wildcard. Yeah, let me double check. I know anytime there's a wildcard, that's something we can exploit. We have a wildcard right here. You think that would apply? I don't know if it would or not. Let me know your thoughts on that while I get PSPI going. I don't remember my IP. Wait, what? Did I miss it? PS Pi, blah, blah. Well, I don't see it going on there, but maybe I'm just understanding PS Pi wrong. That's probably what it is. It has to be something with tar. The task did run. Like, I ran it while the task was running. Try it again. Oh, I must have just closed it too soon. Now we see it. So we have our Perl script here. So it's running gzip. C user bin tar. Here's that wildcard. It's okay. A few things I notice here. Let's drop this in our notes and look at it a little bit closer. I noticed that gzip, it's not specifying the full path for gzip. That's my first question. And then we see this wild card. And I'm leaning more towards the tar. Maybe Perl have an exploit. I don't think it's Perl, but we can definitely check into that too. Okay. It can be used to break out from restricted environments by spawning interactive system shell. This only works file upload, file download, file write. So this is the checkpoint one that I think Overgrown Carrot, I think it was Overgrown Carrot, yeah, was talking about. How could we make this do its thing? Let's do some reading on this. So this is what wildcards are. Here's an example. We completing Cato today. Cato's not a machine. Cato is a web app thing for pen testing. We are doing Nunchucks. So we don't quite have that kind of wild card. Oh, okay, hey, this is actually very similar to what we have going on here. So we don't have it as a cron tab, but we can run it ourselves. We can execute whenever we want. Really? Would this work? Okay. I see, Shakes Tech. Let's try that. I see what you're saying here. And we would make them, we would make those files in here, correct? In the web root? Frick, I can't write to it. Yeah, so look at www. We only have read execute and read execute. We don't have write. Okay. Well, we'll go like this. Nope. Unless there's another way we can exploit that wildcard, but looking at it myself, any chance the script is just bait? Have you ran limpies? No, I haven't ran limpies. I mean, there's a chance, although what I've noticed about HackTheBox is like the OSCP and OffSec, they like throwing in like 50 rabbit holes just to test your mental strength. But HackTheBox, usually when you find a script like this, you're like, okay, that's the way forward if we understand the script properly. GoPro Slow Yo said, I don't remember using tar exploit on this one. Oh, you wrote a write-up. Okay, cool. I might refer to your write-up if I get stuck, but thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it. I'll pull it up on stream either way. I'm totally good with write-ups. I mean, write-ups are only bad if you don't learn something. You just don't want to jump to a write-up right away. I think there's actually a really good HackTheBox blog post on saying, hey, it's okay to use write-ups. You don't know what you don't know. The backup is being executed as root because it's writing to paths and stuff that we can't write to. So how about gzip? Like, what if we do path injection on that? I think if I go to my Linux Privesk here, let's just try that. Let's see what happens. Like, well, no, because I can't write to opt, so I can't really abuse that either. Because it's not us executing it, right? It's root. Let me look at this again. I cannot alter the backup, I don't think. That's what I thought initially as well. I can't write to it at all. So we ran it, right? We run that, but then you can see all these commands are executed by root. And then we run this at the end. Can we write to... No, we can't write to that at all. Jeez, I'm very confused on this. It's right in front of us, guys. I know it's right in front of me. Like when I see what it is. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. There is that race condition, right? We even put that in our notes. A script uses POSIX set UID function. Oh no, here. It creates a temporary directory with full permissions in the temp directory, which could pose security risks as this is typically world writable. How the frick would I do that? Like, I just don't even know how one would do that. Yeah, they don't tend to be race conditions, especially easy. You know, maybe if this is a hard HackTheBox machine, which once again, guys, this is an easy HackTheBox machine. Freaking server-side template injection on a vhost to get initial access to reverse engineering a Perl script to try to get privilege escalation. Freaking easy. Let's run limpies. Let's just do limpies. Let's see what it might have for us. I don't actually have to sudo. I don't know why I keep doing that, but let's just try limpies. Think that's my IP? Yeah, dude. I mean, I find all HackTheBox machines hard. Real engagements are easier. Like literally, some of these machines have better security than the web apps I pen test. Is that out of date? I don't think this is the intended path. I mean, we can try this just for fun, but then I want to figure out the intended path as well. Right, then we just can run it, right? Okay, well that seems like a good sign. So that's just showing some of the technical detail. How do I run this? So it's saying sudo edit, role type, num group host prompt. I don't know what any of these options mean. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me read about this. Once again, I don't think this is actually supposed to be the way forward, but I'm curious if it works. And we'll dive back into LinP's results and read about that. Oh, because it's buffer overflow. Okay. Nope. I'm not going to do that. Especially since it's not going to be the intended path, even if it does work. Let's go back to stuff here. Yeah, I usually check some of this stuff manually, but just going to drop notes as we go. What up, Oreo Bite? Life is good, my friend. Okay, it's not going to be that stuff, I don't think. Do 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 do. Hat and Sack, do you usually stream, dude? Drop a link. Or if you want to stream on HackSmut or Twitch, come do it. Oh, sure we can, Oreo Bite. We'll have to set up a time, dude. I am like between work, 2 kids, wife, streaming. My time is very limited. I did about a year ago. Well, hey, I'm always looking for more people who want to stream like on this Twitch channel. So truly, if you ever want to stream on Hack Smarter, Unless you have your own Twitch channel you prefer, let me know. There's my authorized key. None of this is interesting. I think these are false positives. Okay. Oh, shoot. I didn't even check capabilities. Hold up. I even have that in my freaking check here. Right? So if we... It's usually something I check manually as I'm going through a box. If that really is all it is, I'm going to be amazed. Yeah, sure enough. So we have Perl there. So now if we go to GTFO bins, someone said, hey, you should check Perl. I didn't think Perl could be exploited, but yeah, if it has capabilities set. If the binary has a Linux cap set UID capability set or is executed by another binary with the capability set, it can be used as a backdoor to maintain privileged access by manipulating its own process UID. Oh, dude, you own the limpies.sh domain? That's amazing. I've gone to that before and like it's like, yo, don't download random crap from the internet or something. When you download it, right? Yeah, if you try to copy and paste, it's like, hey, you probably shouldn't copy random scripts from the internet, script kitty or something. Dude, you're a legend, bro. That's amazing. I've copied it too when I was first learning. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. OG right here, dude. That's amazing. So what am I doing wrong? This has to be the way forward, right? What? I might just be misunderstanding this. Usually GTFO bins, you can script kiddie it and just copy and paste. So it's breaking out a restricted environment. Oh, do I need to do this first? No, I can't do that. Okay, so that's not working. But capabilities are set. That should work, guys. What am I missing? Oh, I need a cop. Okay, good call. Good call. See, here's Hat and Sec will notice this probably. Hat and Sec, tell me if you agree. Here's something I noticed. There's things that like are so obvious that when I'm doing it offline, I notice it right away. But when I'm like on stream trying to talk and explain stuff, I miss the freaking most obvious of things when I'm reading things. So we could just copy. So now we have Perl there. Okay, so now if we do that, let's go back to GTFO bins. So then it wants us to do this. Yeah, I can't sudo. I can't set the cap. It already has capabilities set. This should work. Shouldn't it? I'm going to do one really quick check. Not going to get a shell, but I'm just curious about this. No, it's not even executing. Dude, this has to be the exploit, right? Right? I mean, it's like, yo, we have capabilities set. You can abuse this. But I can't. But I can abuse it, HackTheBox. Don't be like OffSec. Whoops, I didn't want to do it that way. There has to be something. It has to be a mixture of this freaking script. It has to be a mixture of this script and the fact that capabilities are set. I just don't know what it is. I'm about to look at a walkthrough. For those of you who haven't done this and haven't looked at a walkthrough, let me know if you have ideas. If you already looked at a walkthrough, I don't want to hear your ideas. Is it, dude? That when you know it, it's so obvious? I freaking bet. That's the one thing I don't like about CTFs. And that's where it's like, Have you checked for anything that might be restricting the binary? No. So I don't really know how to check for that. What do you mean by restricting the binary? Like Perl itself? Something that might be restricting Perl? Is that what you mean? Can I just like, can I run Perl? Can I even run it? Okay, I can run it. I see that, Drakino. I see what you're saying. But dude, I can't edit the script. The script is not writable by my user. Good question. I can run Perl from temp. I don't think that's gonna work. I'll try it. That script has to have something to do with it though, guys. I'm telling you. The script's not just there. It's not just there for fun. I guarantee it. Oh, if I could freaking type. I thought that was gonna work, guys. It sort of worked. Yeah, I guess so. It's not executing with the root permissions though, my friends. Pull this over real quick. No, capabilities is not on that. But it is on that other one. Like that has to be something with that. I'm still going back to restricting binary. I'm not sure. All right, guys. I'm looking at the one dude's walkthrough who posted it. I'm scrolling up for it. Here we go. I want to understand what I don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. And I can do this the rest of the night, random freaking crap, but it's not going to work. Linux binary mandatory access controls. I have no idea what that means. All right. Actually, I'm curious. I'm going to read through this whole thing in the beginning. Even though we've done this, I want to see if they did anything different than me. Yep, okay, I did all that. I did all that. Yeah, okay. So I found the Jinja stuff, but I didn't find the Nunchucks on my own. And then once you know the name of the box, you're like, oh, obviously. And then, yeah, we did that. How did you do? Okay, so you did the same thing. You dropped SSH keys. So that's what I did as well. Okay, yeah, dude. All right. What? Throwing it in a bash script works? What? Why? So you literally did the same exact command, but you threw it in a bash script. Why? Why? Okay. I'm going to do this, and then I need to read your explanation on why that works, because I'm very puzzled on why the frick does that work? Why would that? What? Why does that work? Oh, Jordan, I think I solved zipping. Hold up. I won't give you a spoiler. I'm just seeing if I did zipping. Oh, yeah, dude. I rooted zipping. I did it after the fix, I think. I'll check in a second. First, let me figure out what freaking witchcraft wizardry is going on here. What was supposed to happen? Turns out there's an AppArmor Pro. What the? How is that an easy box? There's an AppArmor profile restricting what the Perl binary could execute. I was unaware of that and accidentally and blissfully bypassed it anyways. Well, beautiful, dude. The profile denied access to all files en route. So that explains why when I tried to cat, it didn't work. It also allowed a very small subset of commands, id, ls, cat, whoami, backup, to run, which also explains why a few other things I tried didn't work. So, but like as root, I can, right? Okay. So you just mean before that when you're trying to do it. Okay, so here's what the AppArmor profile looks like. Deny owner, deny root, deny Etsy shadow. So the AppArmor denies all of this. It allows this stuff. And because it allows like bash, that's how you're able to bypass it, right? The bypass is when you invoke a specific interpreter in your script. You are bypassing the AppArmor checks on the binary because Perl isn't what's running the binary like AppArmor expected. I didn't explain it well, but the technical details can be found in the report here, and the key points are as follows. Scripts are treated as their own executables. AppArmor profiles will attach to a script as if of its own executable instead of the interpreter. The same script can be run directly from the interpreter and not be confined by the defined AppArmor profile. Essentially, this means that the users can launch applications that bypass the script profile for the interpreter profile, or, as you have noticed, use a script profile to bypass the interpreter profile. Okay, I'm very glad I didn't spend the next hour troubleshooting that. That's actually fascinating. I want to see how 0xDF explained this. Let's see what he had to say about this. And how he bypassed it. Maybe he didn't accidentally stumble across it. He's a genius. He's like, oh yeah, it's AppArmor. Okay. Cool, we found that right away. I always check opt. And he examined the script kind of like what we did. And we noticed like, hey, that's a dangerous way to do it. We found out that it has a set UI ID. There's an entry. It's just this one-liner. So that's exactly what I was trying. For some reason, it does return a root shell. If I try who am I, it does return root. Oh, interesting. So I didn't get that far because I just assumed, yo, it's broken. But I think one of you in chat said, hey, just try a different command. You were thinking along the right lines then. If I create a simple script in temp, when I try to pass it to Perl, it gets access denied. Because you're passing it to Perl. Because AppArmor, did I close that walkthrough? AppArmor is blocking Perl, but it's not blocking bash. AppArmor is a way to define access controls much more granularly to various binaries in Linux. So there are a series of binary-specific profiles there. This one is for a user bin Perl, which we looked at this. It is allowed to have set UID, but is not allowed to have access to root. So that's why, like, you can get root here, but you can't like execute cat on root/root.txt. I think that's what the last walkthrough was saying, is that even if you try to do that, it won't work because it is denying it. The bug posted to the AppArmor dev showed that so there was a freaking bug posted about this. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, this must have been the inspiration for this box, as it talks about Perl specifically. Under this profile, it seems like I cannot prevent scripts with user bin Perl shebang line on vanilla, blah, blah. Oh, and then, yeah, scripts are treated as their own executable. Okay, so if you discovered, I guess the way you would discover this is you would discover AppArmor's running. And I bet LinPiece told me that and I just scrolled past it. So one big thing we just learned, guys, on a Linux machine, encounter something like this, AppArmor should ping in our head. So we're going to keep that in mind. And that's why it's good, like, when you solve a machine, like I have root right now, the temptation is grab root flag and be like, oh, I'm done. Yo, check it out, dude. I rooted this machine, but like slow down. Like you need to understand why it worked. And that's what we're doing here. And so we're going to keep that in mind. Like, hey, we have something weird like this happen. AppArmor, 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 check AppArmor. And I suppose if you're doing this machine, you found AppArmor, you Google AppArmor exploit or bug, you might come across this, and then you'd be able to work it out. So there's two common ways to start a script on Linux. The first is to call the interpreter and then give it the script as an argument. The method will apply AppArmor protections as expected. The other is to use a shebang and setting the script itself to executable, because then it's its own executable. When Linux tries to load the script as executable, that line tells it what interpreter to use. For some reason, the AppArmor developers don't believe that the rules for the interpreter should apply there, and so they don't. That means if I just run that, it works. So that's even a Perl script, so not even a bash script, just running as a Perl script, but doing it in that way. Instead of saying Perl and passing it, just making executable and running it. Wow. That's fascinating. Yeah, hey, I'll drop a link. Let me grab his blog again. Unless he gets it before I do. There's the link. Let's check it out. Oh, do I have to like sign in technically? I don't know how Notion works. It wants me to sign in. I'll have to do that later. I'll create an account so I can follow that, but so cool. All right, good stuff. Well, let's go ahead and submit our root flag. Well, no, let's document. Let's document some of what we learned, right? Oh, shoot. Sorry. That was a spoiler for zipping. I didn't realize what I was on, so for those of you working on zipping, you may have seen a spoiler. Apologies. My bad. It's all good, though. Let's go to our post compromise. The issue was grab this link. And we'll grab Nunchucks. So we understand it a little bit better. And I'll just drop in kind of how I actually did it. Okay. Wow. Fascinating stuff. Let's grab that root flag. And once again, guys, easy. According to HackTheBox, not easy. I mean, I guess discovering the set UID, but very unique box that I enjoy there, guys. Nunchucks has been pwned, ladies and gentlemen. Let's grab a screenshot of that for our notes. All right, we can celebrate. It may be retired, but hey, we still did it together. I'm gonna call that a bit hard for me. Probably easy for others, but not easy for me. Submit rating. And we have solved the machine. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. For those of you on Twitch, I'll hang on with you a little bit longer. We'll chat about some things. But for those of you on YouTube, this is going to be the end of the video. Join me on Twitch if you want to hang out with me more. But it concludes the Nunchucks box. I know I learned a lot through this process. Hope you learned a lot as well. And so I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.